So in your Chapter 11 packets, I need you to be turned to this page. We are going to take some notes together, and then you will have a homework assignment for me, okay? So when we talk about a composite figure, we are talking about a figure that can be cut apart or separated into different regions or pieces that are some basic figures, okay? So circles, triangles, parallelograms, trapezoids, rectangles, a lot of the shapes that were on that very first worksheet we did over the weekend. So what we're going to do to find the area is we're going to divide our figure up into different regions to find the area of some separate pieces. Then we are going to add those pieces together. Okay, so we're going to break up our picture into as many pieces as we need to that makes common shapes, and then we're going to add those pieces together. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If we look at number 1, it looks like we have this rectangle that I am going to highlight in pink. Okay, so we have a rectangle, but then we also have a trapezoid that I'm going to highlight here in blue. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to find the area of the rectangle, and we're going to need to find the area of the trapezoid, and then we're going to add them together. So the area of our rectangle, we're just going to need to take length times width. Okay. Now for our trapezoid, if you remember our formula, we have 1/2 times the height times the sum of the bases. Okay. Well, it looks like our bases are 23 and 15, right? We're talking about these parallel sides that I'm highlighting really thick right here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to replace base 1 and base 2 with 23 and 15. It looks like we're going to have to do a little bit of work in order to figure out what the height of our trapezoid is. So we know the height of this whole thing is 18 centimeters. And we know that 12 would be this piece of the rectangle right here. Well, what does that leave? That leaves 6 for the height of our trapezoid. Okay. So if we take 12 times 23 and add it to 1/2 times 6 times the sum of 23 and 15, we would get 390 square centimeters. Okay, let's talk about number 2. What do we have in number 2? Well, it looks like we have a parallelogram. So we need to take this parallelogram and add it to, let's do orange, 2 semicircles. Well, what's the same thing as 2 semicircles? 1 entire circle. Okay, so let's look at our parallelogram. Parallelogram is just base times height. Well, if the radius of the circle is 6, then the whole length, the diameter of the semicircle, which would be the length or the base of our parallelogram, would be 12. So 12 times 5 would give us the area of that parallelogram. We have 2 semicircles, which is really just one circle put together, would be pi r squared, and our radius is 6. So in your calculators, you need to be taking 12 times 5 and adding it to pi times 6 squared. Do you get 173.1 square inches? Let's look at number 4. In number 4, it looks to me like we have a semicircle plus a triangle. Okay, now for our semicircle, it appears that 16 is the all the way across measurement, so our radius would just be 8. So pi times radius squared O, but it's a semicircle, so we better put a 1/2 out in front. So 1/2 pi r squared. Now, unfortunately for our triangle, we don't have the height of it. Okay, we have the base. We know the base is 16, but we don't have the height of it. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to come over here and we're going to have to create a right triangle where we know that this side is 8. We know our hypotenuse is 17, and we need to figure out the height. Okay, so h squared plus 8 squared equals 17 squared. Would give us the fact that h is 15. Okay, so for our triangle, we would have 1/2 times the base is 16 times the height is 15. Okay, so in our calculators, we need to take 1/2 times pi times 8 squared plus 1/2 times 16 times 15. And we should come up with 220.5. And please make sure you label square meters. Okay. All right, now let's go to the next page, okay? Now we're gonna have some shaded regions, okay? What I need you to do here is if I'm asking you to find the shaded region, then you need to find the area of the entire figure, but then we would need to subtract out the non-shaded area, okay? So we need to find the whole and we need to subtract out that empty space, okay? So what we have here is we have a square as our overall figure, but then we need to subtract out the circle because the circle is not the shaded part, okay? So our square has side length 25, and because our side length is 25, then our radius would be 12.5. So we would need to subtract out pi r squared with a radius of 12.5. Okay, so if we have 25 times 25 minus pi times 12.5 squared, we would get 134.1 square feet. Okay, last problem we'll do together is number 7. So number 7, our entire shape is a rectangle, and we need to subtract out the triangle. Okay, so it looks like our rectangle is 14 by 25. Okay, and our triangle would have a base of 25 and a height of 11. So we would need to subtract out that empty space because we want the shaded. So since the triangle is the empty space, we would subtract out that area. So if we take 14 times 25 minus 1/2 of 25 times 11, we would get 212.5 square centimeters. Your job now is to complete the homework, which I believe is the next 2 pages. Complete the homework and then check your answers. Please make sure you are keeping in a reasonable volume. You are working and you are not goofing off. Have a great day.